All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. You're watching The Real Freddie G, and today we're making my favorite dish, shrimp and grits. Okay guys, so for those of you who haven't heard of shrimp and grits is basically exactly how it sounds. It's shrimp and grits. Now, grits are a large grain of corn, hominy in particular. So then you're gonna see how we're gonna cook that in a little bit. The thing with shrimp and grits, it's a dish from the American South. And the beauty of Creole cooking and American South cooking is it takes flavors from all over the world and comes all together in one area. So you're getting these flavors that you might not see every day, but it's all in one dish. So my version of shrimp and grits does the same sort of thing where we're taking flavors from all over the world, except mine switches it up a little bit here and there. It's not your, traditional flavors per se, but with my own little add-ons and spin-offs. And I think it really elevates the dish to a place where, I would take this dish in any competition anywhere, and I'd be proud to serve this dish. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave the recipe in the description. Please follow along and you'll learn my signature dish, shrimp and grits. Okay, so we've got our water boiling and we're gonna start cooking the grits off now. So white corn grits, they're almost the same as corn, just a different species. So as soon as I add the grits into the water here while it's boiling, I gotta start stirring it right away because this cooks extremely quickly, and if I don't stir it, it's just going to clump up and become this gross pasty mess. So once we get the grits to this consistency here, we're going to be checking it every couple minutes. So by checking it, I mean we're going to go in, take a little bit, like a little spoon, see how it is. So it still has a little bit of bite to it. I want to get it to the point where it's smooth and not resisting, right? So maybe another 2 minutes on this one and we'll be good to go. So this is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to get. See how all that skin is raised and it's all gone nice and dark? So this is what's happening while we're broiling these peppers. So I'm going to be turning them and making sure we're trying to get that on all sides of the pepper. And then once that's done, we'll take it out, we'll throw it into a steamer and just let the skin pull away from the actual flesh. And what that's going to do, the whole reason we're doing it is we're allowing that pepper to get sweeter as it's broiling. Because if we just put it in raw, it's going to have a very strong, almost sour taste, and we want to get more smooth roasted flavors going through this. The reason I'm using white cheddar here, and especially an old white cheddar, is the flavor profile just goes really well with grits as well as the jalapenos. If you guys have ever heard of a jalapeno popper, this is basically what we're doing, but the vessel is going to be those grits, and it's a great flavor combination, and I swear by it. So these grits are just sitting on a keep warm setting right now. In the meantime, I just shredded some white cheddar. I have some butter ready to go. We're still working on the pepper puree, but that can be added at the very end, which it will be. So we're going to just gradually add in this white cheddar, right? As we add it in, I'm just going to give it a good stir, and you can already smell it coming off here. It's fantastic. See that? That is luxury right there. And then to that cheese, we're also going to add in a 1/4 cup of butter. Just going to let that stir all the way through, let that melt. We're going to let everything just marry together and get to know each other. So now that the jalapenos have all been seeded and skinned, we've roasted them, so now all that nice sweet heat is going to come through in these peppers. We're going to add a little bit of green onion and some milk, and we're going to blend it into this really flavorful paste that we're then going to put into the grits. So start off with the green onions. I'm going to go with 3 green onions here. These are really big ones, so if you have smaller ones, do 4. All right, make sure we get rid of those roots. And because we're blending it, just a big rough chop. I'm gonna throw that all in here. And then we're gonna go in with roughly a cup of milk. And then a couple pinches of salt. It's gonna get a little bit loud. Okay, so we've got our nice pepper puree here. We're gonna add that into the grits, all of it, and you're gonna see the magic happen here now. As you can see, the color is starting to change. Obviously, it's not gonna be as bright green as the puree was because the corn grits were already white, but it does have this beautiful color to it now. Go in. That's perfect. That is literally a jalapeno popper, but as grits. And those are two great things combined. It can only be good. Okay, so we've got here a pound of deveined and shelled white shrimp. Please go for deveined. You don't want to be eating poop sacks. Just a heads up. So to season this, we're gonna go in with olive oil, salt and pepper, dry thyme, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, and chili flakes. So I'm using chili flakes. You can use cayenne, right? Both will work fine. This gets a bit more texture while it's actually cooking. So make sure we give that a nice mix. All the seasoning gets incorporated all the way through the shrimp. Okay, so for this recipe, the classical way of doing shrimp and grits, they usually use andouille sausage because that's native to the southern region of America. I'm going with chorizo. I just find that with the jalapeno from the grits that I made, as well as, you know, just the overall flavor of the dish, chorizo just goes a lot better with it. So this is a smoked chorizo sausage. It is good to eat just as it is. What I'm gonna be doing with is cutting it nice and small, frying it, rendering it, letting the fat come out, and that's what I'm gonna be cooking the shrimp in as well. So to cut it, we're gonna use about half of this, and like I said, we're gonna cut this nice and small, right? As you can see on the inside, see all that amazing fat on the inside there and all that seasoning riddled in through it. When this starts rendering, all that fat's gonna render out, and we're gonna have this beautiful crispy bacon-like sausage. Okay, so I've got my cast iron going right now. I've set the heat to high, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna just put a little bit of olive oil inside the pan, and we're gonna start this chorizo while the pan is still cold. So what's gonna happen is as the heat comes up, this is gonna slowly render out with that olive oil, and by the time it's frying, you'll be ready to put the shrimp in. Make sure they're spread out so we don't have any areas that are not being cooked. See how the chorizo is already starting to get nice and crispy? That's what we're looking for. And you can't see it yet, but the oil that we put into this pan to start it is starting to get a little bit of orange, which is just that spice blend that was in the sausage bleeding out into the oil. And all that's gonna do is add extra seasoning to the shrimp. Now that we have the chorizo nice and crispy, we're gonna add in our shrimp. And now this is gonna go really quick. We're gonna have these shrimp basically cooked within 2 to 3 minutes. So once the shrimp is about half cooked, we're gonna go in with, again, another 1/4 cup of butter. I'm just gonna add the creaminess that we want out of this. The smell coming off this right now is amazing. Both in the seasoning that we put on the shrimp and that chorizo coming through. So this is almost there now. As you can see, we've got that nice coloring on the shrimp that we want, right? Maybe another minute, and we'll be good to go. So the shrimp are ready now. I'm gonna turn the heat off. At the very end, I'm gonna add 1 green onion cut up. So we're not cooking the green onion too hard. It's just gonna be, that heat is gonna be kissing the green onion, and we're gonna get a really nice, soft, subtle flavor of the green coming all the way through. And that's it. That's your shrimp for the shrimp and grits. All right, so let's plate it. So we've got our lovely jalapeno grits here. I'm using a bit of a deeper bowl, just so we can get a lot of grits in there. So 2 ladles. These ladles are about 8 ounces a piece. Make sure we got a nice smooth surface. So I'm gonna put all our shrimp right in the middle here. I'm gonna hit it with a bit of that chorizo and green onion around the outside. Let's go with a little more shrimp. I'm feeling a little bit adventurous. Just gonna add a little bit of finely cut green onions over top. And that right there is probably my favorite dish in the world. Shrimp and grits. And I'm telling you, this is my signature dish. I will go up against anybody with this dish if I'm in a competition. So I think it's time I get into it because this thing's staring me in the face and I can't say no. So it's gonna be a very big bite. Like you've seen in the past, please don't make fun of me. This goes everywhere. That is absolutely amazing. You have the nice spice from the shrimp. It's warm, you know, against the jalapeños in the grits, the green onions, the crispy chorizo. You got a whole bunch of different textures. The smoothness from the grits, the crispiness of the chorizo, the tenderness of the shrimp. This dish is just complete. It has everything you need. You know, spicy, sweet, salt. Amazing, amazing, amazing dish. So if you guys like this dish, please like and subscribe so you guys don't miss out on any future recipes. I love making stuff like this for you guys. If you guys have any recommendations or wants and things that you want to see cooked on this channel, please leave them in the comments. If there's something you would change about this dish, please also comment. Until next time, guys, dinner is Freddy. See ya.